I am going to start with a little bit of my own ritual I do before every presentation, which I didn't get to do yet today, but I think it's something that everyone can enjoy with me, which is just to kind of center ourselves because this is Friday and it's Friday the 13th. Yeah. Which can mean a lot of things maybe for people, but I think it's fun because I love anything Halloween, spooky. Tomorrow's an eclipse, a lot of things happening. So since it's the end of the week, I kind of like to recenter myself before I do a presentation so I can feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more of a clear and calm mind. And so I'll invite you guys to join me while I do just a quick ritual of breathing and a little mindfulness exercise. So I'm going to begin with just exhaling out all the air out from my lungs. You can also close your eyes with me. You can feel free to have your cameras on or off, whatever feels comfortable, whatever's going to allow you to go inside yourself and feel good. So close your eyes. You're going to exhale out all the air out from your lungs. 2 breaths in from your nose. Take a sip of air more and full breath out the mouth. Make that exhale nice and long. And you're just going to do 2 more on your own. 2 breaths in from the nose. Take a sip of air more and full breath out the mouth. Last one. 2 breaths in from your nose. Take a sip of air more and full breath out the mouth. This is what I call a nervous system reset. Just allows your nervous system to relax a little bit more. It's like a mini jacuzzi for your nervous system. And then I'm going to ground down by just allowing myself to feel my body against the chair. You can think about whatever you're sitting on. If you're standing, you can think about what your feet are being held on or held by. Um, and so you just kind of feel the sensations of your body against the chair or on the feet, with your feet on the floor, whichever one. And this is the way that I ground down because I get nervous for every presentation too. I have speaking fear. And I have to do these techniques so that I can allow my body to come into the moment so that I'm not trying to escape it. I'm not trying to rush. I'm not trying to get it over with as quick as possible. I am allowing my full body to become as present as it can be. And then I notice any body sensations, if there is tingliness, any fear, what that feels like in my body. Maybe there's kind of a little bit of butterflies in my stomach right now. My chest feels tingly. And I just allow those sensations to be there. And then the last part of my ritual is I think and I envision exactly what I want to kind of feel like through my presentation. So what I do is I like to feel very open-hearted, like I'm allowing myself to feel a lot of love and happiness in my heart. So I think either about a memory that I've had where I feel a lot of lightness, open-heartedness, compassion for other people. And I think about that memory. And you can think about any memory of what you want to feel right now during our class, what you want to feel. What is your intention for it? How do you want your body to respond to the message? Right? This is how we start to invite more of the manifestation energy of what do we want? What do we want in our life? And you do it in the small moments. So I am thinking about a memory that I had with a group of friends where I just like loved everyone there. It was new people and I didn't know a lot of the people, but I was just like feeling so much energy for them. I was on a little bit of I was on I smoked a little weed too that day and I was feeling it. And I was like, oh, it feels so good. And I was just chatting with them and I was feeling their energy and it could feel really my heart expand. And I'm just allowing my body to feel that now. And that is when I start my presentation. Welcome, welcome. Allow yourself to continue on with whatever you were doing with your thought or your vision, allowing yourself to feel it, allowing yourself to feel grounded. I would love if you guys would use the chat. You guys are also going to chat with me through audio, but for now, if we can use the chat as well, of how that exercise was for you. You started with my pre-presentation ritual. We did it together. And kind of like what that feels like coming in with a little more intention on the receiving side. So today is a witchy 3-step guide to TED Talk confidence. I did this AI. I don't know if you guys have heard of Lensa. It's like an AI ability to make your face look like things that you want, like robots and all kinds of things. And I was like, I want to do Halloween. I'm gonna be a witch. So this is me as a witch. Yay! I thought it was appropriate to share for today. What we're going to be discussing is the number one mistake people make when they want to get over fear. And then we're going to talk about 3 witchy steps to TED Talk confidence and how to be a magnetic speaker. Thanks, Shay. I'm glad you liked my AI. My Halloween me. Okay, so number one mistake that you make when you want to get over your fear is that you want to get over your fear. I love these kinds of things to say. Like the number one thing, it's kind of a trick question. If you want to get over it, don't get over it. But what happens is when you resist fear, if you don't want it to happen, it can make the fear worse. Carl Jung says, what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. So maybe if you guys can think about for yourself, times where you have been really nervous, maybe you're about to do a presentation, you're feeling a little shaky, you're like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't want to be shaky. Oh my God, people are going to notice this. And then it creates more thoughts that create more nervousness, and it becomes kind of like a vicious cycle. What happens typically isn't, I don't want to feel this, and it goes away, right? It just perpetuates. And then the fear symptoms become even more intense because we're like, I hope no one's noticing this. I hope no one notices that I'm like, oh, feeling super freaked out right now and that I'm trembling and all these things. And so it grows in size. So what do we do? Speaking confidence, what people think speaking confidence is the absence of fear. And it's not. People want like confidence to be like the Prince Charming, like for it to just happen and you just feel super good about yourself and you're just like in front of people and it's like you're kind of just the best speaker in the room and it feels really good, right? But this is not that kind of a story, and this is going to be a love story, and it's not a love story with Prince Charming. This is a love story with your fear. Because the faster that you can create an intimate relationship with fear, the less daunting things become. So we're going to talk a lot about intimacy with fear. We're going to talk about this kind of a love story with fear. And when we think about starting a love story, how does it begin? It begins with like a little eye contact, a little bit of smiling. It's called flirting. So we want to begin a relationship with fear, flirting with it. We're going to flirt with fear. So this is step number 1. This is a definition that I found on Google about what is flirting, because it's been a while. I'm married, and a couple days ago, I was like, I don't think I'm very good at flirting anymore. I told my husband, and he's like, I don't think I am either. I was like, yeah, I think we need to get better at this. We need to get better at flirting when you're married. But so I had to look it up. I Googled it, and it says, flirting. Behave as though you're attracted to or trying to attract, but for amusement rather than with serious intentions. Oftentimes, what happens when people think about public speaking, it becomes very serious. When people think about fear, it becomes very serious. And I like to think I'm like the jester of fear. I think fear is fun. I think fear is a place to play. I think fear is a place to find a deeper understanding of myself. So what I would like for you to do is just to get on this level of creating a lighthearted relationship with fear, is to really think that it is just these little flirtations. And how do we do little flirtations? We don't get married and like have a heavy relationship right away. You do light-hearted interactions, right? So I want you to think about ways that you can start to flirt with fear in your daily life. There are so many moments in my day-to-day that I flirt with fear. I flirt with fear all the time. My husband wishes I would flirt more with him, but I guess I'm just flirting with fear all the time. I'm busy. So I flirt with fear all the time. I'm on a Zoom call and I'm meeting a new group of people. And we're all supposed to all say a little bit about ourselves. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know when I'm going to go. And here I think, oh, this is a moment to flirt with fear. It's not a big fear. It's not a big, like I'm on a stage with 1,000 people fear. These are little flirtations, right? So I think, okay, I'm flirting with it. Let's invite this in a little bit. I have neighbors. They're always like hanging out inside the front of on our front lawn. This is an apartment complex. They're always like hanging out and chatting. And I always feel really awkward walking by them because I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say. And they seem all engaged. And how long should I talk? And again, I think, oh, this is a moment to flirt with a little fear. So like a little uncomfortable. Let me just say hi. Or if I have a new hairdresser, I had a new hairdresser a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, this was awkward. Like, what are we going to talk about? It's like an hour and a half on the chair. I don't really know much about her. Are we going to have to talk about weird like stuff that I don't care about? Right. So I think, oh, another moment to flirt with fear. It's a little uncomfortable. I want you to think to yourself, and if you can put it in the chat, or if anyone wants to share, actually, you can come on video or off video. Kind of where are some little moments, if you can think about in your day to day, where you've thought, I want to do this thing. It's a little scary, but I want to try it. It's maybe like it sounds like a little flirtation with fear. It's not big. It's not huge. It's flirty. It's fun. It's light. You can share in the chat. Maybe Shaw, if you can share, you have your video on. Feels like you're open to sharing.
I'm definitely open, but I can't think of anything. The only, or that the, what I can remember is like a one-on-one with an executive. I don't know what we should talk about, and I start talking about just whatever comes to my mind, and I want to keep it professional, work related. So I guess that's what and it happens once every quarter. So every quarter, I need to get over this fear and I don't know, maybe come up with a better agenda. But that's the only thing I can think about right now.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Think about your day to day in your week, little things that you have interactions with. Is there other small meetings that make you feel a little bit like, oh, even talking on a call, meeting a new group of people or with team members, or just anything in your daily life, talking to having a conversation with the person at the grocery store. is there any things where you've been like, I wanted to do that, or I would I want to push myself a little bit, but it's a little like uncomfortable.
I think I live in isolation. I don't think so. I actually live in a remote area, so I
Oh, so
don't
you never interact with people on the day to day.
not a lot. No, no.
Do you go to the
Yeah.
grocery store?
I work at a farmer's market, so I'm on the receiving end. So that's where I get my produce from on the weekends. And yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's okay. So you go to work, you
Uh,
interact with people.
on the weekends, yes. I have a Saturday job, which is my real job that keeps me grounded. I'm a UX designer, but on
Hmm.
Saturdays I work at the farmers market. Yeah, that's
Okay. So there's plenty of interactions there, right?
definitely, yeah. But like I said, I'm usually on the receiving end. And now that I got a little comfortable with that job, I don't have that fear because people
Got
come
it.
up to me. Yeah.
Got it. Is there any moments where you wanted to like change the dynamic a little bit in those moments where you've been like, oh, I wanted to maybe make a new friend with people or ask someone out? Or has there been moments where you've kind of wanted to up a little bit of the interactions you're having with people?
You know what? Maybe when there's a larger group of people, you mentioned hairdresser, but you also mentioned a crowd of people in front of your building. I think that's when that switch kind of flips, when it's not just one person, it's a larger group of people.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So at
Yeah.
the farmer's market, there might be a larger group of people that are chatting.
Correct. Yeah.
And you've thought maybe about trying to chat with them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't want to mess up their dynamics and I want to distract them. Because obviously if they're together, they have their own conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, if that feels like one day you are walking by and you can think this is an opportunity for me to flirt with fear a little bit and not worry so much about their dynamic. Maybe you can think about how your energy can change the dynamic in a positive way. And you
Sure.
can think about, okay, like just saying, hey, how's it going? And it's simple as that and not doing anything more, not needing it to be anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be a small flirt.
Oh yeah.
And I encourage you, now that this is maybe just in the ether for you, to think about more ways in your day to day as you go through life of thinking, oh, that's a little that's a little scary for me to do, or I feel a little uncomfortable, or I feel a little bit of insecurity, or whatever, and think, oh, maybe this is an opportunity for me to flirt with fear. Do you have anxieties ever
But
about
definitely.
interactions?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's hard for me to think of any moment, any event, recent event. But yes, definitely. Maybe, well, here's the thing. We love to go to Canada, and a lot of the Canadians in the French speaking part, they don't speak English. So that's definitely a fear. I actually had to go to a salon to get a haircut in Canada, and my hairdresser did not speak any English. So that was kind of a fear. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes we can also think about fears as just, or flirting with fear as just little moments of a little social anxiety or a little moment of a little bit of tingling of, I'm a little stressed. We can also, if you don't have these kind of more, these interactions, you can think about just any moments in your day to day where you have stress, where you feel stressful thoughts, and think about this as a moment for me to flirt with this stress. Right? We're looking for little things, not big moments, the biggest stresses and fears of our lives. We're looking for the little moments where we start to feel a little bit of anxiety and stress in the body. Okay, we have Gabriella. Asking the CEO a question at a company all hands when they ask anyone have any questions, that's a big flirt to me. Usually I come in not being prepared and I forget all the questions I usually have. Yeah, so that's a big flirt. I want you to think now, what are small little flirts? Tiny little flirts, right? CEO meetings, big stakeholder meetings, those are big flirts. We want tiny ones. We want to play with tiny ones because it doesn't feel flirty that much when we're thinking about some of those more intensive experiences, right? Feels less flirty and more freaky. So I want us to really dive deep into thinking about little tiny flirty interactions, little tiny moments in my day to day where I feel a little bit of anxiety or stress. It doesn't even have to be with other people. Maybe it's an email. Maybe feel a little bit of that stress in an email. Maybe feel a little bit of that anxiety putting a comment in this Zoom call right now. Maybe you're feeling it now. I don't see a lot of Zoom messages. Maybe you guys are feeling that, right? What are little moments where you're like, wouldn't do something because it's like, it's uncomfortable, but you want to try to do it? Oh, am I sharing the right screen? Are you seeing the big screen? Shaw? Hands up.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Thumbs up. Are you seeing my big screen right now, or is it you're
Yeah,
able
yeah,
to see it?
yeah. We are.
Okay,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
looks wonky
yeah.
right now. Okay. All right. So when an opportunity for a tiny bit of fear arises, tiny. Kaylani, talking to a parent in my kid's Boy Scouts meeting. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Tiny, small. And it's small is different for every person, right? I'm not judging what's small to you versus what's small to me. Everyone's is our range is going to be different. But I want you to think about what is small for you. And I want you to literally think, Kaylani, before you go into the Boy Scout meeting, I'm just going to flirt with fear a little bit and just talk to them. Why do we use this word flirt? Why am I using this word? Because when we start to think of, I need to face my fears, that feels heavy. I should talk to this parent. That's more pressure. When we start to just use the word flirt, there comes a lightheartedness in your body. Just saying the word flirt with something feels, maybe depending on your experience with flirting, but you can think about just a little invite. That's what it is. Little invites of fear. And so if you just do this one step alone, you're going to start to change your relationship to the word fear. Change the relationship. Just the words that we use are spells. Okay, come back to witches. The words that we use are spells. How we perceive the word, what our body feels about that word. So when we think about the word fear, speaking, I should do this, I have to do this, those things feel heavy. So we want to start using different words in our head so we can start to change the energetic relationship we have with them. Okay, step 2 is go deep. I'm flirty, right? But I want to get to know fear a little bit more before I like go out and get to like really know and marry fear, right? So to create intimacy, first you flirt and then you're going to go deeper. You're going to start to build that intimacy. How do you start to go deeper? Well, when you're on a date, you're going to ask questions. You're going to want to know a little bit more about fear. So I want you to start getting curious at the flirting stage. Getting curious at the flirting stage of what is fear like? What is stress like in your body in very small doses, not big CEO, big meetings that cause you a lot of stress. I'm talking about tiny little doses with the little flirtations. What does my body feel like exactly during those times? And I would like for somebody to come on and chat with me if this feels like a flirt for you. If you're like, I'm going to go on video and I'm going to go off mute. This feels like a little bit of a flirt. Like that's uncomfortable for me, but I'm going to do it. I want someone to take that flirt challenge right now and say, hi. Yes, you're going to flirt with me. How do I say your name?
It's Young.
Jun Young.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. How does it feel for you to come on? Was it a flirt for you? Did it feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, this is big flirt for me.
Ooh, thank you so much for flirting with me and for flirting with fear right now. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do this exercise with me to get curious about what those fearful sensations are like in your body. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm going to ask everyone to close their eyes so that we don't all feel like we're staring. We're going to all close our eyes. And I want you to think about, as she speaks, for you to sense in your own body kind of what fear sensations could feel like in your own body. Just imagine it through what she's going to share. So I want you to share with me, where exactly in your body are you feeling the fear?
I feel like when I have to speak in front of people, I feel the blood just like going to my face because I'm so scared.
Okay, so I want you to now feel the blood going to your face. And what does it feel like if you were to describe, like you were a scientist in your body? What does that feel like exactly? Like, is it your whole face? Is it parts of your face? I want you to describe it.
I guess the whole body temperature goes up, and especially the face, it gets really hot. Uh, I feel like the ear is gonna explode.
Mm-hmm.
I start to
Good.
sweat.
Yes. Okay. So I want you to feel the intensity of your ears wanting to explode. And I want you to just focus now on your ears and bringing lots of curiosity to it. What does that really mean for it to feel like it's going to explode? Is it like tingling? Is it shooting sensations? Imagine like a doctor. They always ask you these kinds of questions, right? Is it shooting sensations? Is it prickly? What does it feel like in your ears?
A bit of um I guess tingly. Um, actually, as soon as I shared, that sensation went away.
Interesting, right? What else is coming up in your body now?
um, I don't know. I guess I'm not scared as much anymore.
Yeah. Oh, interesting, right? So now I want you to think about whatever is in your body. I want you to just still remaining tingliness. I want you to just allow that flirtation to stay in your body. Invite it. Invite whatever is happening to happen. I want you to just think that to yourself, I am inviting this in, and this is okay to be here. Just think that to yourself and kind of see what happens in the body, in your shoulders, your stomach, just all over. When you feel the invitation, the acceptance, how does your body feel right now?
When I think about it, when I think about how fear can affect the body, actually, I don't know, my body feels more relaxed than before realizing the fear. I still have
Yes.
it like my hands. It's I can feel the sweat. It's getting wet. The shoulder was tense, but I just try to relax it more, which is not inviting. So I should invite the fear. But
Yeah. Yeah. So allow the sweat to be there. I want you to just invite it in. Sweating hands, little tense shoulder, invite it in. And then when you're ready with me, we're just going to do a nice breath. We're going to exhale out all the air out from our lungs. 2 breaths in from the nose. Take a sip of air more and full breath out the mouth. Okay. And then we can all open our eyes back. So see what happens when we invite. You did 2 steps in one right now. You did number 1, you flirted with fear. It was a little more outside your comfort zone than you wanted, but you did it. So there is courage there. When we practice courage, it changes our relationship to fear. And then you did the second part, which is you just understood what exactly does it feel like to have fear in your body. I want everyone to think that the mission is to understand very intimately what fear is like in your own body. And not just, I feel shaky and I feel like uncomfortable, but to go deep and granular with it. Because what you're doing is you're becoming a scientist of your own body, and you are starting to know, oh, this is what fear is like in my body. And I know how to be okay with it. It's not the monster under the bed. It's okay. I can still be in my body and still feel safe, even if it's uncomfortable. Thank you so much for flirting with fear with me today. So knowing how to identify those early signs of fear and exactly how it feels in your body is going to help you manage fear in the middle of a higher stress presentation. If we want to get to TED Talk confidence, we need to be able to handle bigger and bigger and bigger, more intensive situations. We have to be okay with the small. We have to start small. What is it like in these little moments? How can we start to really understand the blueprint of fear in my body? And the best way I can kind of think about this is to think about imagine walking into a gym and someone just dropped 100-pound weight on your back. You'd be like, oh my God, get me the hell out of here. Like, oh my God, this is so awful. It hurts so bad, right? And then imagine you go into another gym and this time you see a weight rack and you are going to pick up that weight. It's 5 pounds and you're going to pump it a couple times. Well, now it's not overwhelming, intense amount of pain, right? It's like, oh, this is uncomfortable, but I can do it, right? Maybe you haven't worked out ever and you're like, this is kind of really intense. I feel my bicep kind of I don't know, I don't work out my arms a lot, but you feel it kind of like hurting and you feel tingliness and you feel a strain and you're like, oh, but it's 5 pounds, so you can handle it. And then when you stop working out, you still feel a little bit of those pain. You still feel that painful sensation, like, oh, that's uncomfortable. And then afterwards, a couple days later, you're still feeling the muscle fatigue. And then you go back and you start with 7 pounds, right? And you start to increase the amount of weight that you can handle. But all of the pain becomes something that you expect. You understand it. It's not overwhelming. So I want you to think about that with pain, but as fear. What fear is just a host of sensations. That's it. Sensations are just what your mind tells you. These are bad sensations. These are painful. This is how your brain is perceiving it. It's telling you these are bad, but you're changing and you're overriding the mind and you're saying, well, it's not bad. They're just sensations. So you can think about like 50-pound or 100-pound weights is like you doing a big presentation. It's like pretty intense. You feel a lot of anxiety and stress. It's really hard to like be very curious in those moments, right? You're like, what's happening in my body? Let me invite this in. That's too much. We have to start small with the little flirtations. I want you to think about little moments just like you did right now, where there's a little flirtation and you understand how to handle it in your body. Does it feel a little bit like, oh, I could maybe do this again, right? Well, maybe. I understand a little bit more of what pain is like in my body. I could feel my ears do this, my face does that. Okay, I'll just be okay with it. What if I was just okay with my ears feeling like they're on fire? What if I was just okay with my face feeling really hot and my hands being sweaty? What if I was okay with that? So you can start to feel safe in your body even when your mind says you shouldn't. Your mind is saying pain, bad, don't do it. Your mind is saying no, but you can still override that. You can override the mind by bringing curiosity into the equation, right? We're just changing your dynamics with fear. Flirt instead of face. Curiosity instead of just feel it, do it anyway. Or like try to avoid it completely, right? The third part, now that you've brought some curiosity into your body, I want you to produce some love spells. What is a love spell? What makes people fall in love? You got flirty, you got deep, you got to know each other better, you and fear. How do you create love now? Love is just dopamine in the brain. Science. Dopamine in the brain. You're just releasing love hormones. What we want to do is start to increase more love hormones in relation to your fear. How do we do that? Very simple. Very simple, but people typically will not do this. After every flirty interaction, I want you to think of 3 things you're proud of, regardless of how it went, regardless of the outcome. So, can you share with us, Jinyoung, 3 things? And I'm inviting you for another flirtation with me, with fear. I want you to share 3 things that you are proud of about that flirtation that you did.
I guess I came up with 2. One was I was proud that I did it. This, although it could feel uncomfortable, I knew that it would be uncomfortable for me. And then second one was by doing so, I was able to let you know about my example. So I was able to understand about my what my body does.
Yeah. And I want you to really try for a third. This is, we're stretching your brain right now. We're changing it.
Having one more occasion of me speaking up during meetings in front of people.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. 3 things could be small. They don't have to be huge things that we're proud of. All we're doing is we're creating a new habit and we're training the brain. Instead of what everyone wants to do right after a presentation or right after they do something fearful is, oh, what did I do not right? That was weird. I shouldn't have said it like that. I don't know if the person liked me. What do you think that does for the brain in relation to speaking? What it's connecting fear to? It's connecting fear to putting yourself down more, putting more pressure on yourself. Why the hell would you want to do it again if you're not getting that delicious dopamine rush? What you're doing right now is increasing the amount of dopamine. And you want to do that every single time you do a flirty interaction. Every single time. I don't care if you came up and you were like, I couldn't speak. I don't care what you did. I don't care if no words came out, if you blanked out. I want you to find 3 things. And if you can't find 3 things about that moment, find 3 things that you are just happy about about yourself generally in life. I'm happy. I'm proud of myself that I take risks. I'm proud of myself that I did the dishes this morning. I'm proud of myself that I loved my husband today and like cheered for him when he got a job. What we're doing is just creating more dopamine in the brain. It doesn't matter if it has nothing to do exactly with what just happened. We're just connecting and changing the brain structure. Now, people think, oh my gosh, 3 things you're proud of. That seems so like childish. Like we don't want to do that. What people usually want to focus is more techniques, more strategies, more storytelling, more ways to make people like them. How do I get people to just love what I'm doing and think I'm so awesome and think I'm so smart? And like, what are all the different ways? What that does is all it does is increase pressure, increase more anxiety, right? I need to be this thing. I need to do this thing. And that just creates more fear symptoms in the body. Everyone wants to be a magnetic speaker, right? Like somebody who just attracts people to them. They're like, everyone always tells me, I want people to like me. I want audiences to like me. I want my audiences to like what I do. They want to be magnetic. Well, let's talk about how to become magnetic. Albert Einstein says, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. All we are energetic frequencies. Everything you see around you, the world, is just frequencies. Atoms moving really quickly. Nothing is still. Our vibrational energy are influenced by our emotions, our moods, what we believe, our perceptions of things. That's how we change the frequency. So if we want to magnetize people to us, it's not by a bunch of storytelling techniques and strategies. That's, 15% of what I do, and I think about. The other is just thinking about what is my own energetic frequency? What are my beliefs, my moods, my emotions, my perceptions? This is how you start to change your vibrational energy from fear to more love. It sounds ridiculous, I think, to a lot of people because people think, oh, love, overrated. Love, where does love have to do with speaking and being in front of people and being the best in the workplace? But you might be noticing, and this is a trend I'm seeing, people are overworked, they're burnt out. I'm seeing so many communities like, I want to just get rich so I don't have to work. People are now really starving, and maybe you can feel it in yourself or energetically around you. People are really starving for authenticity, openness, belonging, connection. What that means is what we're craving from more people is to be heart-centered speakers. So that this is not something AI can replace. I think because of AI and all this technology and Zoom calls and feeling really separate and people feeling like they have to wear a mask every time they speak in front of other people, or they feel like other people are wearing a mask. They're like, oh, they just seem like they always have it together and I don't. What's wrong with me? To break through that noise, what we have to do to break through all this junk and all this like disconnection and feeling like we're the only ones dealing with things and we're the only ones having these fears is for us to become heart-centered speakers, to start to vibrate at the energy of love. That's how you're going to start to feel good in yourself. That's how you're going to attract opportunities that are aligned for you specifically. It's like, wait, what? What are we doing? We're becoming more loving. Yes, I think that is the way of the future for us to start to feel good and start to connect on a deeper level. So how do we build that love? It's very simply like what I shared. Number one, we're going to change the way we think about fear by flirting with it, small doses. Number two, we're going to get curious about what's happening in our body. So we're not escaping our body. We're not trying to rush through. We're feeling okay in our body, even if it feels uncomfortable. And third, we're going to increase the amount of love that we have. having a vibration of love first starts with you feeling love for yourself. It can be really small. You don't know how many people I talk to go, I don't know how to do self-love. Like I hear people talk about it. It seems like fanciful. It seems like a nice to have. And I'm like, that's the basis of everything I do. How I'm able to find the love of my life and keep the love of my life is through self-love. How I'm able to find a business that feels like purposeful for me, that I love every person I work with, is only through my self-love. Being able to show up today speaking with you guys is only through self-love, because I went through many years of always being in the grind and feeling burnt out and never feeling good enough. And I couldn't do it anymore. If I kept going down that route, I wouldn't be here right now. I had to change something. And that was through self-love. So if you think, 3 things that sounds frivolous, I think this is the first biggest step to self-love. Is when you think you shouldn't have it, that's when you give it to yourself. It's not when everything's going great and that's when you give yourself love. Heck no, that's not. When you are feeling like I didn't do well, or that was awkward, or why didn't I do this right, or did I make a mistake? Before you get there, this is when you insert the self-love. This is when you get the dopamine kick in.
You're supposed to be on your bed.
Who's going to bed? Let me see if I got a mute. Okay. So I want you to start thinking about your life as a training ground for TED Talk confidence. I want you to think about all these little flirtations you have in your life, little moments, maybe going on a date, cashier, meeting people at a meetup group. Ooh, awkward. Right? All these little tiny moments where you can start to invite a little bit of fear into it. And what I mean by that is just inviting a little bit more of stress, being okay with it. Okay, I want us to share a little bit. Is anybody else? I want to hear from y'all around little flirtations that you can have in your day-to-day. Little flirtations you can have in your, I want somebody who is ready to do a little bit of an uncomfortable flirt with fear right now to share. If you're thinking about it, I want you to not think about it and just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it.
I just put my camera on, but I don't have much to say, to be honest. I just wanted to be more present.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Does being on camera feel like a little bit of a flirt with fear, like a little uncomfortable, or was it comfortable?
It's a little bit uncomfortable, yes. I like to be more private. So it's like, okay, let's just be a little bit more connecting and open. So that's why I put my camera on. Yes.
Thank you so much for doing that. I want you to, so that was the first step. You did a little invitation with flirt. Step 2 is to get curious. Is there any body sensations that are happening right now that feel like a little uncomfortable, a little weird, a little off?
Yeah, definitely. I think feeling tension in my belly, feeling tension mainly in my belly, to be honest. Yes.
Okay. And I would like to invite you then, if you don't mind, and everyone can do this together again, for us to just close our eyes with you and imagine the sensations that you're feeling. This is what I do with every one of my clients. I allow my body to try to understand and really empathize with someone else by feeling into whatever they're feeling. And if you don't mind just describing exactly what it's like just in your stomach, where exactly in your stomach it is, and what exactly it feels like. Is it a ping? Is it little flutters? What does it feel like?
It feels like flutters, and it's actually more in the lower part of my body, which actually extends a little bit to my hip and lower part. And it feels tension, it feels tight, it feels like, nervousness. What this nervousness feels tension, feels, like actually a little bit electricity. It feels like, not not open, yeah, more closed. Yes.
Yeah, that was a great description. And I like how you shared where it goes. So I want you to think to yourself that you're just going to invite these sensations in and allow them to be there. And tell those sensations in your mind, you can be here. It's okay.
So I want to ask you something about that. When you invite those negative feelings, especially anxiety and etc., even though you're aware of them and you bring them in and you pay attention and you say to them, yes, I see you, I haven't managed that they're going. They're still there. That makes
Yeah,
sense?
well, they're still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the part of inviting them in. That doesn't mean that because then what's happening is you're actually secretly resisting it. It's like inviting your mother-in-law that you don't like to come over, and then she comes in and you're like, oh, I didn't actually want you to come. And then she's like going to feel that energy, right? So we have to actually not want it to go away. When you invite it in, what you're doing is studying it. Just like you did, where exactly does it live? How does it move? Because you're putting the idea that it's bad in association to the sensation. But it doesn't mean it's bad. That's why we're bringing curiosity to it. Instead of labeling it as bad, I want it to go away. What happens when you just let it be there? What do you think happens over time?
I feel a little bit, it can become a bit like someone who's going to be there all the time, and you don't want to have anxiety being part of your life all the time. So I do understand when you more accept it, it kind of relaxes. It feels actually more relaxed when you just accept the uncomfortableness. But in my past, I had those experiences where I invited it in and then I couldn't get rid of it. It just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're like, okay, I don't want to take over.
Tell me about that time.
Where it becomes uncontrollable. Especially, for example, you go into a meeting or you go in a personal situation where it becomes uncontrollable and it actually takes over you, and you're trying to kind of, from the outside, trying to pretend everything is okay, but inside you completely, like, you feel the emotions, you feel the anxiety, you feel whatever emotions going on, and you're trying to, because you're trying to navigate through the day to day, but it's actually taking over you, and that's sometimes can be an hindrance.
Yes. So when we were talking about flirting, we were talking about little moments, right? Little anxieties, little stresses like that, where you have it enter your body. And you just watch it and you bring curiosity, right? And then over time, by working on little moments, can you start to handle bigger and bigger moments? If we try to bring just curiosity when we're in the middle of something intense, like we talked about, that's the 100-pound weight on you. It's not like, let me bring curiosity to this moment with 100 pounds on my back. So the flirtation is in the day-to-day to allow you to start to work on that muscle, so that by the time that you have more and more intensive situations, you know better how to deal with it. Here's one of the ways that I deal with more intensive situations that are like very uncomfortable is I don't wait till it's so uncomfortable to start to manage it. this is why it's so important to think about your fear like wearing an old t-shirt. Like over time, you're just like, oh yeah, this is what it's like. I have the tinglies in my tummy. I already know fear is here. Oh, it's here. Okay, I know how to manage that. Maybe you do a nervous system reset breath. That's one of the things I do. I do this kind of like 20 times a day. I have anxiety every day. So I find ways to manage my nervous system on the day to day. If it becomes more intensive, this is what I do. Do you still have the fear now, Danny?
No, no.
I want to increase your fear. How could I do it? Think about a moment that day that you were thinking that was like stressful for you. What was happening that day? Where were you? What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I can think about something. One last day at my previous job, for example. Yeah, and yeah, I don't want to go into details.
What was happening? What was happening in your body?
Oh my God, I started even to sweat because my body was completely like, going into, I don't know even what kind of like sweating and like hot flushes and just going in and out. And I try to still keep a straight face. Yeah. Being nervous, feeling also inadequate in the situation. Yeah, it was not nice. No.
Okay. So do you feel a sense of that in your body now?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So I want us to work with that sensation. So I'm going to invite us all to close our eyes again. You can do this exercise together. So I want you to feel, where in your body do you feel that sensation the most?
You asking a general question or just
to you?
The same spot.
Okay. Down in your stomach area?
Yeah,
okay,
but
lower. Lower. Okay. So I want you to just first, wherever it is the strongest in your body, imagine that area right now on your body and the intensity of it. And I want you to just imagine that energy moving down your legs. Imagine that you are pushing that energy down your legs. So it's going down to your thighs. And you see it like kind of like water moving down your body, swirling down, that energy moving down your thighs, down into your knees, into your calves, into your ankles, into your feet, and into your toes. Then come back to that energy in your hips and your stomach, that lower area. And I want you to move the energy up, push it up into your stomach, into your spine, into the upper part of your stomach, into your ribs, into your chest, to your back, up, up, up into your neck, to your chin, till it fills up your whole skull to the top of your head. You can imagine it, that energy also moving down your arms to your forearms and to your hands and your fingertips. Maybe you can start to feel an energy throughout your whole body. Then I want you to imagine that maybe there's a color of this energy, white, yellow, whatever you want to pick, that's moving through your body. And I want you to just imagine it pulsing out of your body, like 1 feet away from your body. That energy is just pushed out. Imagining it now push out 3 feet around your whole body. Knowing the source of where it came from in your hips and area, imagining it pulsate back out from your whole body, out through the whole room, space is filled with this energy. Pushing out into the whole house, into the street, into your whole city. Into the state, country, and then across the whole globe. Maybe you can see the world from a third bird's eye perspective, and just seeing the energy emanate out. When you're ready, you can begin to come back into your body, ground yourself by feeling your body against whatever you're sitting on. We're still staying in the body. We're still safe in the body. We're just moving energy. When you're ready, you can begin to open and flutter your eyes open. What was this exercise like for you? How would you describe it?
I definitely feel much lighter. I feel more relaxed. Feel mainly lighter, really. Feel lighter. First, I did feel the energy going through my whole body and the vibration of the energy in my whole body. But the exercise to let it go and to send it away, I feel relaxed, and I definitely don't have the tension and the feeling in my stomach that I had before. I feel quite relaxed.
Yeah, so this is why I don't teach this first is because it's good for us to, number one, bring that awareness of uncomfortability in our body, because as human beings and our brain always wants us to resist pain. It's just natural. We don't want it. Go away. I don't want pain. I don't want fear. I don't want uncomfortableness. But when we start to begin to have a more intimate relationship with fear, it stops running the show. We're not going to do it because I'm scared. I'm not going to do it because of fear. So first, it's like the two sides of the coin. One side is you start to really feel like you can begin to build a deep, intimate relationship with fear. It's not an enemy, meaning the sensations are not an enemy. And then the other side of the coin is knowing how to move energy frequency. Oftentimes, how I like to use this exercise is by feeling love frequency in my body and transferring it to other people. How can I make other people in this group feel it? How can I make people in the world feel it, right? But we can use it with any kind of energy frequency. Your body is what sensations are is an interesting energetic vibration in the body. It's just kind of in one area or specific parts of the area, but you can move it. The fun thing about intense sensations is the ability to move it around. It's really hard to feel it when you don't feel sensation, like to move energy. It's like very hard. But when you have cultivated some, it's very easy to move it. And it's kind of fun. You're like, oh shit, I'm like an energy worker. Like I can move energy, I can manipulate things. But what we want to do is make sure we are trying to do it for a positive thing, for a positive reason inside ourselves. Okay, questions, thoughts? Anyone else want to share anything about this experience? Jin Young, do you have anything you'd like to share, like something that a takeaway from today?
Me again?
Jin Young, but you can too. But Jin Young, yeah.
Maybe if someone else says.
I guess not really a question. I guess I understood what was the objective of the exercise. I think that sensation kind of disappear, because once I try speaking out, talk to you, make me feel like this environment is a little bit more safer. So I think that was why. But I think hopefully in the future, when I feel that sensation in front of people, hopefully I can do the same and understand it a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. This felt a little more safe, but you were able to practice it, right?
Yeah.
That's why we talk about little flirtations instead of trying to do all of this and think about all of this in big moments.
Right.
Get comfortable, make this a habit. Basically, the only difference between myself and someone else here around fear is the fact that I've just made fear a practice for me. I'm kind of obsessed with fear. I'm obsessed with helping people with their fear. I'm obsessed with understanding the brain and the body with fear. And so I'm just asking for you to bring a tiny bit of that obsession within your own life, which is, how do I just play with this and think about it in a new way? That's it.
Well, actually, one question. For me, the fear comes out like visibly, that my face gets red.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any tips or experience with that kind of sensation?
So so I worked with someone who got red in the face, deeply red in the face every time she spoke. And what we worked on is just her being okay with that. One of the things we said was like, it's like her mood ring. It's like when she gets excited and she gets a little like nervous, excited, because those feelings are very similar in your body. The sensations are very similar in your body, nervous and excitement. And when she gets a little nervous, it's like her mood ring, like she's excited. And that was something that worked for her. You have to find a way that for you to change your perception of being red in front of other people. How you can start to work with that thought. So what is your thought around it when you get red?
I get even more stressed because I think people might feel weird how red my face become, and they will notice that I'm stressed.
Yeah. So that's the thought. People will notice
Mm-hmm.
that I'm stressed and it will make them feel weird.
Yeah.
Having that thought creates, what do you think?
Fear.
More fear, right? So, what is a new way, a new belief that you can think about that same thought that is just a tiny, 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 tiny fraction better than that thought you have now?
My face is a mood ring. I think that's interesting one.
Yeah, but I want you to play around with some other ones. What else? What makes it just a tiny bit better for you? Then everyone's noticing I'm stressed and it makes them uncomfortable.
I'm expressing how I'm.
Sure. Yeah. So something that happens when we try to reframe or try to change our thought is we often will sometimes go to something super more positive. And I want you to not try to be positive. Because it's hard to go from a very fearful thought to like, okay, it's a positive thing or whatever. I want you to just think tiny, tiny bit better. Like, for example, let's brainstorm. People, my face is getting red, and maybe people will feel a little sorry for me. Maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe my face is red and people will feel kind of like they want to help me. Maybe
Mhm.
when my face is red, I seem more like a normal human being to people and they feel kind of endeared by it. See how I'm kind of climbing up the ladder of making it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better of a thought, but not drastically. Which one of those kind of felt like it resonated most with you?
That people might feel sorry and they might want to help out.
Yeah. What do you think that does for your body? What does it that make you feel?
I think I will have to experience it in real situation.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what kind of emotion would you say you get when you think about it? Like just not the, you don't have to describe the sensations, but what's the emotion you get right now when you think about that sentence?
Relieved.
Relieved.
Mhm.
What do you think when you feel relieved? What happens when you are speaking in front of other people and that happens?
The fear gets smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it gets smaller. Maybe you continue doing the presentation, you just speak anyway, but you feel different, right? It feels different. The energy is different. So see how we can try to change our thoughts and our beliefs that changes our energy frequency. And that changes the reactions, it changes the results. Just tiny, tiny little changes. All I did was change a little bit. I was like, let's just bump it up a tiny bit. People think they always go to the extreme. Like everyone will like it. It'll be great. It'll work out. The other part of your brain is like, fuck no, it won't. Like, no, I have a red face and we're freaking out here. Right. We don't want to play with two extremes all the time. Like, oh, I feel shitty and oh, everything's going to be good. People underestimate the power of a tiny, tiny little bump up of change in that thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting more confident.
That's how you get more confident.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Getting more what?
Courage.
Yes. Yes. This is how you build up courage. Tiny, tiny little steps at a time. Tiny, tiny little thoughts at a time. Tiny, tiny little flirtations at a time. Yeah. Thank you so much for really joining in and doing all the exercises with me today and really displaying for other people the evolution of all these different things about changing your thought, working with your feelings. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, I'm going to just finally share a last thing. I'm going to have to selflessly market myself, which is I have a 10-week program starting on Tuesday, and I have 2 spots left for this program. It's 10 weeks long. After week 1, you're going to learn how to train your brain so that you can have these little thoughts without having to think about it, without having it to be like, what was that thought again? You're going to learn how to automate your thoughts about yourself so that it just is reprogramming your mind without you having to take the time and effort every single time. What's the new way to think about this, etc. So that's what we do after week 1. At the end of 3 weeks, you'll have the clarity of understanding the root causes of your fear. Like, why do I have this fear? Where did it come from? Is it a societal thing that I keep hearing? Like I'm supposed to sound and be a certain way, like look like this a perfect person, presenting. Is that why? Or maybe is my parents that kept saying you need to do best and be the best? Is it sometimes I have a lot of people who have teachers that have said something bad or a little bullying. So what is the root cause and how do we release its grip? So that's what we do on week 3, release that grip. And by the end of week 10, people are surprised that they can be excited to present. They're like, I want a little bit more of that dopamine hit. They want that dopamine hit. They want more opportunities, even though they still have a little bit of nervousness. I still have nervousness every single time before our session today, days before our session, I have it. Does it stop me? No, because I still get a dopamine hit. It's balanced. So if this feels good for you, you guys are welcome to join the program. It starts Tuesday, and I'll put the link in here today. Otherwise, I am just so grateful that you guys joined and participated and did little flirtations with me today and put yourself out there and allowed me to share on this call today as well. Thank you, Shaw and Danny for joining and doing your video, and for Jen Young for showing your video and doing your audio and putting yourself out there, for Kailani, Rachel, Jen, Esther, everybody, Chris. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you at whatever next thing I start to do. I don't know what next class will be, but I love doing presentations, and I would hope to see you guys again soon. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Sean.
Bye.
Join the farmers market. Bye, Rachel. Bye, Jen. Jen is going to be in the program. Yes, girl. Excited to see you there. Thanks for joining this session too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.